everybody, it's Pam and Bill at Country Living Newbie Custom Decor in Spring Hill, Tennessee. And sorry we're jumping on just a few minutes later than scheduled, but it's a good reason. We had some customers in the store and we were talking all things DIY, so it's always good. So thanks for joining. Tonight we are going to show you all how to transform one of these old books, which they have so much character to begin with, so I don't know, I probably won't even transform that one. That just got this kind of cool kind of green thing, but this one looked pretty similar to that, and this is, you can see it's real old. I think it's like a English language book, grammar, right? So who loves grammar? Not me. So
this is Edgar Allan Poe.
Oh no, this is the one.
Edgar Allan Poe.
Okay, apparently I wasn't supposed to do this to the Edgar Allan Poe book. But look how, and it's so pretty now. We should have put like ravens on it or something. Okay, well anyway, sorry about that. So we're gonna go from this to this, and we're gonna use several different products, so you get to see some really cool ReDesign with Prima products on tonight's video. We would love for you to tell us where you're from, where you're watching from, and if you have any questions at all, throw them in the comments, and Bill will be monitoring those and shouting out any questions to me as we go.
Hey, Trula.
Hey, Trula. How are you, girl?
She says, hi, Pam.
Say hi to Bill, too, Trula. He'll cry. Okay. So before we start, we're not going to actually be painting the book today, so we're actually just going to flip this one over and do the back. But in case you're wondering what we used on the book first, so we're a premier retailer for Dixie Belle Mineral Chalk Paint. We sell their entire line, so everything Dixie Belle, we absolutely love their line. We are also a ReDesign with Prima retailer. So we carry oodles of Prima transfers, and we have some of the stamps that...
That's oodles.
Huh? Oodles? And we have a lot of the stamps that that they were selling when IOD was with them. So we have some of those stamps. Whoops. And we have lots of Prima stencils and Dixie Belle stencils. And I would love to show everything on this video tonight, but...
Sorry, really bad glare.
But we can't, so we're just gonna... I think we're gonna use probably 4 or 5 products. So the colors that we used on this, and this is one of the most popular Dixie Belle colors, is Vintage Duck Egg. So it's kind of a soft grayish blue. Very pretty. And then when we get to the stamping part, we used the whitest of whites, which is Dixie Belle's Cotton. They make several whites, but this is the pure stark white. No tint of anything underneath it. So before we did that though, I knew that chalk paint would never stick to one of these books. These books are absolutely filthy, they're super porous, and there's really nothing to clean it with. You know, it would just get wet and probably wouldn't even clean it. So we needed to coat it with something first, and I got this through Prima as well. It's Art Basics, and it's by Finnabair. It's a soft matte gel. So we have a couple artists in our shop, and one of them was just here, and I was asking her about this product, and I'm like, I really didn't know what it was for. It's really more for, it's a gel. So you can use it with, it's an acrylic-based gel. You can use it tinted, so you can put acrylic paint in it, and use it like almost as a top coat or sealer to transfer like decoupaging and adhesion. But I used it almost like a primer. So I put it on the book in 2 coats, and it goes on clear, but it's kind of this milky white liquid, kind of thick. And what it did was basically put a shield over the book. That way now my chalk paint will adhere to this and won't come off the book. So we carry this in the shop, and again, we get that through Prima Marketing. So we did 2 coats of that on the book, and then I did 2 coats of Vintage Duck Egg. So there's nothing else on top of the paint. So when you're going to use transfers, you want to put your transfer right on paint. You don't want to seal it or wax it. Your best results will be going right over the paint.
Can you use Mod Podge as a substitute for that?
As the sealer? Probably. I don't think chalk paint would have any problem sticking to that. Yeah, I wasn't really sure what to use, so I'm like, well, this stuff looks kind of good, so, I mean, give it a shot.
I mean, Mod Podge is basically
Glue.
Elmer's glue,
Yeah,
so.
yeah. Okay, so yeah, basically I wanted to kind of get rid of that porousness of it, and that would certainly do that. So the first thing we're going to use is the ReDesign with Prima Adhesive Transfer. So this one is a little different than all the other transfers. And you'll see it has adhesive transfer on it, where the other ones, you can kind of see the difference. They just say transfer. So you know you're not getting an adhesive one. And I don't know if all the adhesive ones have this gold rim on it, but maybe that's a way to tell the difference, I'm not sure. So what an adhesive transfer is, and let's show you the difference in what they look like. An adhesive transfer needs something to adhere on top of it to show the pattern. So it's basically a transfer of glue, of sticky glue. So they're yellow. They have no color to them because we are going to put something on top of it, in this case foils, to put whatever color we want on it. So normal transfers just go on, and you scrape it on, and you seal it, and you're done. So you can't really change the color of it. That's just, the color is what it is.
Real quick, going back to the sealer, could you have used a Dixie Belle top coat?
Yeah. Yep. I would, the only thing, and there's a lot of chatter on the various channels now about Dixie Belle's gator hide and the transfers. Some people have great luck with it. I've had good and bad luck using gator hide with the transfer, but more for sealing it. And it may be due to technique, I don't know, it might be something in the gator hide, I don't know, but it can cause your transfer to peel up after you put it on. So I would probably, just personally, I'm not using gator hide right now with the transfers, I'm using the clear coats. So let's go back, because the question was, can we use clear coat as the primer?
As the sealer.
As the sealer on top, yes. You wouldn't want to, I wouldn't use it.
No, I'm sorry, to seal it, to make it.
To put the transfer
yes.
on. Generally, yeah, because you're going to paint over that and then you're going to put your transfer. Yeah, you could do that. Okay, so we're going to show you the adhesive transfer. This one is Rustic Elegance. And it shows, so it's kind of hard to see on the front what you're getting. So you want to flip it over. And you're going to see all the patterns on there that you get. So there's some patterns, there's a couple butterflies and a couple hearts, some borders. But you can tell from here, it's kind of, you're kind of like, well, what am I getting in this? Because on this, they've already put the foil over it. So it's kind of hard to see exactly what you're all getting. Yeah. So always flip and this is true for all the transfers, just flip it over and you'll see the different sheets on there. Okay, so I have never used an adhesive transfer until today, and I'm going to tell you some lessons that I learned the hard way, so you will not do this. So,
and just FYI, if the phone goes flying, it's because I tripped on this.
All right.
Which I've almost done about 2 or 3 times already.
I'm going to move it. I will, I promise. Okay, so this transfer comes like all the other transfers with the protective backing. What I found is if at any time this backing comes off, it's very easy for this this transfer to stick onto itself, and then you're basically have ruined your transfer. So I don't know if you can see it, but you can see the circles here look much different than they do everywhere else, is because there's basically glue on there. I got it stuck to itself because the paper rolled off and it stuck. So
once it sticks to itself, it's done.
yeah, I mean, I almost thought I ruined the whole transfer, but so I have no pattern over here and a lot of pattern over here. And the reason is because this back page just kept coming off and I couldn't get it back on there flat. So I just ended up putting a little bit of tape on each end. So at least now it's always on there. So with these transfers in particular, the adhesive ones, I just found they're a little bit more tricky once you start taking the paper off.
All right, real quick, going back to the sealing question again. Can we use the like Dixie Belle top coat to seal the book prior to painting?
You probably can, because you can, if you paint a piece and then you seal it with the Dixie Belle top coat, and let's say you want to repaint it, you can paint right over it. But I think you could, but I think you want to go more for like a gesso or something like this. That's made for that purpose. So the top coat isn't really made for priming. It is more of a sealer, and I can see where you're kind of sealing the book in, but I think you want to use more of a gesso material, Gesso or Gesso, and you can use a white or a clear, or this.
So I guess the answer is it probably would work.
Yeah, I've never tried
but there's a reason I think companies make products
kind of
specifically for that.
Yeah. So, for example, if you're going to do...
hey, Melissa. It's my cousin.
Hey, Melissa. Yeah, if you're going to do projects like on a canvas, sometimes gesso is good to put over that. It's kind of the same thing. Okay, so on the back of this book, let's go to the front. On the front, I used part of the transfer here, and it doesn't look yellow because we put the foils over it, which we're going to be doing on the other side of the book. I used part of the transfer up here. This is a stamp, which we're going to use, and then this is a mold. So we're going to do all of that. And then there's also some pretty waxes on here, and I'll show you some of those.
On one book?
On what? Okay, so we're going to flip this over, and we're going to decide what we want to use. And I think I wanted to go with butterflies on this side because I have a little butterfly mold already made, and I think if we do the butterfly,
so cute,
that will be good. Okay, and I also ruined the border here. You can see there's it's kind of missing something over there. So again, it got stuck and I just lost it. So we're going to use this little butterfly. I think we'll go with the small one. And these you can just cut. So you cut around what you want to use. Do not take the back off and place it down until you are committed to where you're going to do it. Make sure your book is right side up. So the first time I put this stamp on this morning, I stamped it upside down. So to repaint the whole thing. So you always got to kind of make sure you know what you're doing or where you're doing it. So we'll do a little butterfly, and then...
Melissa says she might actually be able to do this.
You can do this.
You can do this, Melissa.
So,
anybody.
Yeah, and that's one thing that you'll notice with all our videos.
It might be upside down, but it can be done.
I've done it a couple times. So we have not been doing this very long. I mean, Bill's been a carpenter for many, many years, besides working in healthcare until we quit our jobs a year ago. And I've been a nurse like all my life, like since before I could even have a legal drink. And so I've only been doing this about 14 months. And I want you all to know, if you've never done this before, believe me, you can do this. We want to make this stuff look easy. And you know, some of it takes some practice, but for the most part, just like go for it. Just go for it.
The practice is the most fun.
Okay, so what do we think? Do we want to cut? How are we going to do this? I want to make sure you guys can see the, let's do this. Let's use this, right? On the corner of the book, maybe?
There's such a glare.
Sorry guys, once I get the sheet off, it'll be better. Let's cut this one out. And the nice thing about these transfers is they are so versatile. You know, you just kind of, I'm good, you can just do the camera. I know it's tricky enough doing that while I'm moving all around. These are so versatile. You don't have to just take it out and use the sheet as is. You know, cut it up, mess around with it. So this one, we're gonna roll up right away because, again, once it gets kind of squirrely, you can run into trouble. Okay. And always cut it with that protective sheet on. Don't take that backing off until you're ready to put it down on your piece. Okay. Take both of these. Oop.
Did you lose it?
No, because it was just sticky from the last one. All right, stick it down there for now. All right. So let's see, because this is definitely too big for this book. No, I'm just going to leave that and let it go off the page. Okay, so I think what we're going to do is we're going to take it off. Don't touch the yellow part because it's very sticky. And we're going to go on the edge. Here. And I don't care that it's going over because we're just not going to scrape that part. So if you're doing something big, like a dresser, piece of furniture, you may need to tape this down, but it self-sticks pretty well. But on something big, you just want to have a little extra security and put some painter's tape on there. And then each transfer comes with this little stick. If you don't have the little stick, you can use like a stirring stick or a little wood spatula. Doesn't need to necessarily be this. And now, basically what we're doing is we're transferring the adhesive glue part onto our book. And it's a little more difficult to see the transfer than on the regular ones because it doesn't really like change color or anything. You can kind of see it gets a little bit darker, but you just kind of have to scrape and then start pulling off and testing it.
Lisa Renee is watching.
Hello, Lisa Renee.
She says loves our videos.
Aw, thank you.
Actually, she says loves your videos. And
Bill,
she's ready for another class.
Bill does not get any love. Gets no love. He's the man behind the camera, right? He's in his new Stetson hat today. All right. And you want to make sure you get this on real good because this is what your foil is going to adhere to. And so you want your pattern to be nice and pretty.
So this stuff is sticky not only on the book, but on the opposite side as well. It's like double-faced tape.
Right, right. It's like transferring double-faced tape. Exactly. And so I'm just going to go to the end here. And the other thing, and you'll probably see it when I pull it off, it can be kind of stretchy. So, like, you know, almost like glue when it starts to dry, you can almost stretch it a little bit, or like gum almost. All right,
You
so.
got a compliment on your nails too, by the way.
Who?
Melissa. Is this out of focus or something?
I know, they're like terrible. Oh my. Okay, so do you see?
Very sticky.
Yeah. So I think what I'm gonna do, I don't know if it'll work or not, but I'm just gonna take a little X-Acto knife and start pulling. So as you pull up, just like with the regular transfer, you want to make sure it's all down. So if you start to see any on your backing, just lay it back down and rub right back over it. And again, this is sticky. Can you hear that? Can you hear the stickiness?
in 3D.
It's not smell-o-vision like our candles, right? And I'm sure you can't see it on camera, but as I'm pulling, I can see some parts that are raised a little bit. And so there's some parts there that I probably should have scraped down a little bit more.
Not bad though.
Very quiet. So we're going to run into the same thing over here. So we're just going to go to the edge. But you can kind of see how gummy it is. All right. Okay. So you can see how pretty and yellow it is. Now we have to get something over it. So let's make sure okay, we'll wait on the butterfly. Let's do the pattern first. So
Melissa says she loves that. Wait till it's not even done.
You're so easy to please,
you
Melissa.
think that's cool?
Hey guys, if you're on, we'd love for you to like our video, share it. We're gonna put it on YouTube later. I'll put it on the Prima page as well. But please give us a like and a share, or a wow, or a love. How about some wows? I like those wow faces. Wow.
What's this?
What?
The stuff you pulled out.
Oh, so this stuff is called decor foil, and it comes in many, many colors. We're going to be using, I guess we can use some gold. We didn't use gold. No, I think I'll keep it consistent. We're going to use the pink one. Actually, does it have a color? I'm going to say this wrong. Come on, you're the French guy. But you probably can't see it.
It's Boudoir Rose.
Okay. You sound like, I don't know, Pepe Le Pew or something. Okay, so that's the pink. And then Twilight Ivory is the white. So we're going to use that. We also have this gold one, but I don't think we're going to use it. Oh, it's copper, Relic Copper. So these are also made by ReDesign with Prima. We carry them here in the store. And they come with six sheets in a package. Although, I could swear I only had 3. It does say 6. I could swear I only had 3. Okay, so you want to put this on your transfer with the color side up, because we want the back to stick and then the color to be facing up. And then we can decide if we want to put multiple colors on there, which I do. So like this side, you can see I have mainly white, but there's also some pink in there. So I think let's go like mainly pink. Oh no, this thing is so dirty. All right. Here we go, guys.
It's your drop cloth. Make sure you have a clean drop cloth.
Yeah, I mean, this is filthy. Okay. So I think we'll go like, so here's another thing. Did you see what I just did? Flipped it over. And now dirt's gonna stick all to that because I flipped it over.
Oh my God, jeez.
So you gotta be so careful with these ones because you forget that they're sticky. So we're gonna go with some pink. Let's just do some pink up here. And I'm just gonna rub it on. And you'll see it as it gets the texture of the transfer underneath it. Where's my stick? My stick? Where did my stick go? There it is. So we're just gonna Rub some of that on. And you may need to do this a couple times. So when I lift this off, there's probably going to still be some yellow showing through. But you can see as you pull it back that the pink is coming off, and there's a lot of yellow in there, but that's okay. We're going to go back over. And I noticed this before too. So some of the glue
wants to stick on everything.
Yeah. Pretty.
Now where the foil is, it's not sticky any longer.
Right.
So could you put white over
It won't.
the rest of it, and it
Yeah.
won't stick to the pink, but
Right.
it'll stick to the...
Right, which is what it did here.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, so you can hit this again with your pink, or you can take a different color and throw some other highlights in there, which is what we're gonna do. Let's go down here too. Because I want this one to mainly be pink, so I may just kind of haphazardly do that. Let's see. And then I'll go back over it. Of course, you don't want like super straight lines if you're OCD, a little bit like me.
Random is better.
Yes. Everything in nature is random, right? Let's do a little up here. More here. Over there. That is sticking. Okay. This is not sticky at all. So you can, and it's not like gold leafing either where it's gonna like fall apart on you. It's, you know, you can, it's very thin, but you can manipulate it. Okay, and then we're gonna do white. And that's the sheet I used before. We're gonna use the same sheet. And again, you wanna put it with the shiny side up. So these, you know, can definitely take a little more work than the other ones because it's almost like doing it twice when you have to put the glue, the transfer down, and then the foil over it. And even I'm having like a huge glare, so it's hard for me to see. Whoops. I'm probably going a little too hard with that. You can actually just use your finger. Because you can see the color when it leaves the foil. I just gotta be careful. Okay, so there's still some yellow on there, so I'm gonna go back around and touch those up. But I wanna get the butterfly on too, and then the mold for you guys, because I wanna show you what we did to the mold. So there's still some yellow on there, so I will go back through and touch that up. But let's get our little butterfly. Where's our little butterfly? There he is. Well, let's think about this, because do we even want that butterfly if we're gonna do the mold? Probably not. What do you think? Should we do both butterflies or just the mold? I think it's too much with both.
Too many butterflies.
Yeah. Okay, so the first thing we're gonna do to this is just Prima's modeling material, which we have, comes in a big bucket. It's up top in the bucket. No, yep. But I also sell it in little individual chunks, because that's an awful lot. So you can get it from me in just a little chunk if you're just doing a couple molds.
These are the molds.
Okay, so this is the little butterfly we're using. And we're gonna use, this is Prima Marketing, Art Alchemy Metallic Wax. And this is rose gold. Very pretty. That's what we used on the other side. This smells, this is a smell-o-vision one. This stuff smells amazing. I mean, how often do you want to smell a wax? It smells really good. So when you put this on, if you were just like hitting the highlights of something, you can tell, I use my finger a lot for it. So when I did the edges of the book, I just put it on my finger and went around. But for this, I really want to, paint with it. I want to cover the whole thing. So I'm just going to use a brush. And I thought this just went really good with the pink foil. I know it's not called pink, but it's pink. And you could glue it on and do this after, but you're going to end up getting some of it on your book, which would be nice too. But I want a nice clean look on the butterfly. And you don't need to seal this wax, so once it's on, we can just leave it. There's a lot of little crevices and details in here, so bear with me. Everybody happy with the time change? We are. Oh my goodness. We don't have to drive home in the dark anymore. All our trees are budding and we got flowers coming out. And, oh, so ready. We're from Florida, so we're still kind of getting used to this Tennessee weather. Been really rainy, like floody rainy, state of emergency rainy in some spots. All right, so I think I got the edges, and then I can hit the top when I'm done, but I just didn't want to get it on the book. So, and to glue it on, I am going to use this mixed media glue. And this is definitely a mixed medium project, right? We got paint, we got the paper, we got the molds. So I'm just going to put a little on the back. This dries nice and clear. And you can put these molds on when they're wet. I just happen to have this one that I made, and it happened to be pretty flat. So I'm also going to put some glue on here. Just a little dot. What do you say? We do it at a little angle?
Sure.
I'm just going to hold it there for a sec. And this glue, let's see how fast it dries. Doesn't say. Doesn't say, but when I use it on the other side, like it was dry in a couple minutes. You have to be careful with some glues. Like E6000 is a great glue, but it takes 24 hours to really dry. So you want to use maybe something more short term along with it, especially if you're going to be painting it right away.
That's what you're doing there?
There's a little bit more glue than I want, so we're just cleaning it up. And I can go back and touch this up with some of the paint again to cover up if you can see the glue. I'm not sure, we'll have to see when this dries, if it dries shiny or matte, because if it dries shiny, I'm gonna wanna go back over it with some paint. So on the other side, and we'll flip there in a sec, because I'm gonna layer gilding with this wax on here. I'm used to saying gilding wax. Dixie Belle makes a great gilding wax that's similar to these. So it's kind of the same thing. So what I did on this side, because it looks a little different, my absolute favorite one of these is Vintage Silk, and we need to be careful because this is still sticky on the back. Yeah, we're not gonna be able to do that. So this one, it's called Opal Magic, and it's just got this silky sheen to it. So when this is dry, I'm gonna put this over it to make it look like that. And you can kind of see it on the top. It's really pretty. And then I also went around the edges. So this is where I took my finger and just put the wax on the edge. And you can do that with the opal too. Look at that. Oh, so pretty. So pretty. Let's put some down here. And again, it smells so good. If nothing else, buy it and just to smell it. It's so good. Okay.
Do it on the side we're working on.
Okay. Just kind of gives it that vintagey look. We always make up words when we're doing our videos too, so a vintagey. Probably not a real word, but it should be. Good. So we're gonna have to go back over and clean up some of the sticky parts on here. And then after this is done, I'm gonna probably use Dixie Belle's flat clear coat over it, because I don't want it, I don't want the book part to be shiny. Although I do kind of want this to be shiny, so maybe I'll use satin.
Did you paint the book pages, the edges of the pages?
No, I did not. Pages are dirty.
Of this priceless Edgar Allan Poe book?
I know. I said, "Oh, honey, I painted a book," and he's like, "You didn't use the Edgar Allan Poe one, right?" I'm like, "No, I didn't use the Edgar Allan Poe one. Come on."
I use this grammar book.
I thought the Edgar Allan Poe one had Edgar Allan Poe like stories in it, but it didn't. So we'll clean this up and we'll finish it up and we will get it posted. But I think this would look really pretty. So we'll do a couple and then maybe tie a couple together. What would really be nice too is putting a mold on the side and painting that and putting some gilding wax on it. So I may even do some kind of decorative mold on the side. But these are real popular just for home decor.
What kind of stamp did you use?
Oh, we never did a stamp.
No.
Let's do one. Let's do a little one. This is how we roll.
On the fly?
On the fly. All right. Let's use, so this is called Letters. And this is, again, some of the Iron Orchid ones that Prima that still has in stock. So this is one of those. It's called Letters. It's got a bunch of really pretty letters on it, like love letters and that kind of thing. So let's pick a little one. Thank you for bringing that up, because I just totally forgot. Let's see. These can be really tough to get off. Don't be afraid though. Just pull them off. Yank them. They're not gonna rip. And then the first time you use one of these, you want to take a very fine, I think this is a 400 grit sandpaper, and just lightly in 2 different directions rub your stamp. That will help your medium here adhere to it. And you can use chalk paint, you can use ink.
What are we using today?
Today we're using chalk paint, and we're going to use Dixie Belle's Cotton. And this is how I do this. I take dollar store sponges, those yellow ones with the scrubby on the side, and I cut them up into 10 pieces. And this is what I use. Oh, before we do that, let's figure out how we want to do this. So there's a raised part of the stamp, and you want to make sure with the letters that you don't put it on upside down, which that one I really can't. I mean, some of them you really can't read. You just know enough that they're letters, so I'm not too concerned about that. And then, panic. Let's do, what if we do, ooh, what if we do that? I like that. Let's do that.
Okay.
Okay. So you don't need a lot of paint.
Did you sand that one? Or
I've used this one before. It came off like really easily, so I know I've used it before. And I'm just dabbing the paint on. You're gonna get some in the flat part. That's okay, because you're not gonna press down hard enough to get that part on your book. And I'm not gonna use the sheet, because there's a sheet that you can use to help apply something that's bigger, but this is so small. It's just gonna be easy for me to...
Straight down.
Yeah, so straight down, don't move
Don't
it.
Smear.
Which I may have already. But the nice thing about these stamps is the vintageness and the distressing is kind of built in. So they always look kind of old anyway. And we're gonna pull straight up. And I moved it, son of a gun. So don't panic if you do that. I'm just gonna let that dry. I'm gonna put some duck egg over it, and then I'm just gonna put paint on that one spot, and I'm gonna go back down with it. But I could tell as soon as I put it down that I moved it, so. But there, don't look at that part. Look at my lovely nails. There, my thumbnail. But there's our pretty book.
Very nice.
Yeah.
That'll look perfect on an end table or something.
Yeah, we'll do a couple more and we'll get them on the shelves. So if anybody has any questions, throw them in the comments. If you're watching on replay, would love for you to like and share, like our page, and you can find us everywhere, Instagram, YouTube, Pinterest, everywhere. So we'd love for you to support us on all those platforms, and we appreciate you tuning in tonight. Toodaloo.